evening and welcome to Sea Fishing with CJ down the beach. Woo! I think that's hard work. Wait till I try pulling it back up the bank. Okay, the first rod is rigged up. It's my black rock and I'm going to be fishing a live bait rig. So we've got a large 5/0 hook with a smaller hook on a hair beneath it with a little bit of black lug on it. The idea being is Mr. White will come along on that. It's a circle hook, so he'll hook himself on that, he won't come off, and then he'll be swimming around looking sorry for himself, and something, conger, bass, whatever's out there that likes to eat whiting, comes along, engulfs the whole lot, and we get him on the big hook. As you remember, the other night we tried this and all I got was a half a whiting back, so let's see if we can get a bit more lucky this time. So we're going to fish this on an over and under pulley rig. So the weight is on a pulley bead, so that slides up and down. Okay, and then our snood, which is attached to the end of this yellow line, goes up over the top. It's going over the top of this adapted Gemini clip, and then comes down and clips into the splashdown. So as soon as that hits the water, that's released. This thing goes out and I've got a reasonably long flowing trace. That's the plan. So let's get it out in the water. Canon line release device. So basically what happens is that we feed the line over the, push this open, feed the line over the top of that device there, and then pinch that, and it holds the line in place. So the line is now held on that spindle. So we can open the bail arm now, so this is what's holding it, and of course all we do is release our finger there and away it goes. More of that later. So let's get this second rod in the water. We've settled ourselves up, so we've got the tent all set up, and we've got a rod that's rigged up with the double paternoster clipped down with a bit of ragworm on it, so we can blast that out, see if we can't get ourselves some tea, because I'm actually starving. I haven't had anything to eat all day apart from snacks, so I'm hoping to get us some decent sized whiting and we'll fillet them up and cook them on the beach. That is the plan. Of course, plans never come to fruition, so now I've said that, it's not going to happen, but never mind. If it doesn't, it doesn't. Got the old Canon clipped in place, and off the ground cast. So a nice taut line, holding the rod like it's a spear, elbow up, looking up, feet 10 to 2, looking up, slow into it, fast out. And that felt like it put a bit of power into that. Got quite a long way. Let's let the lead settle. Get that gripper to grip in, and then we'll keep it taut. I always back wind, just feel it's putting less twists into the line. Rather it's putting the same amount of twists out as in and in as out. So it cancels each other out. Still end up with twists. Right, that's it, set up. Happy days. So it's raining, a little bit of rain, I don't forecast rain this time of the night. Hopefully it's only a bit of drizzle or mizzle, and welcome to Sea Fishing with CJ on the beach. Okay, well we've had a few little knocks on the right hand rod and it's all gone quiet, so it either means the bait's been robbed, which needs to be replaced, or we've got a couple of little pin whiting on there that have gone to sleep on the hooks. But either way, we've got to bring it in, so we'll bring it in and have a look. Trouble when you blast it a long way, it takes a long while to wire it back in. Look, and there we've got two very polished hooks. So there's definitely fish out there, but they are robbing the bait at the moment. So let's get that baited back up again and then get it back out there. Right, little cheeky off the ground cast again. This time I put a bit of lug on the bottom hook and a bit of rag on the top hook. My only concern about ragworm, it's a nice juicy bait, but it's quite soft. And so if the fish are here and they're ragging at baits, they'll get that very easily, whereas at least with the lugworm it's a little bit more robust. They have to work at it a little bit more, there's more chance they'll get hooked. Pick up a bit of slack. Right, that's set in the bottom, and then we back wind it back until we put it onto the rod rest. Right, we've definitely got some action on the right hand rod. Big lunging bite, and I slack lined it. Only a little bit of worm on there, but then that other night, or a couple of months back, I had a little bit of worm on and caught a smoothhound on it. Something there, got to wind that one. Have a look, see what we got on here. Ooh. Must be tugging now, so maybe not. Just another bait robbery. Well, we've been down here, I don't know, an hour or so. We've had lots of little knocks and rattles and baits coming back in untouched or eaten. Well, not untouched, they've been eaten, they've gone. But no fish so far. I'm sure it's not going to be a blank tonight, we'll get some whiting. Although I did declare at the start of the night that was the target species, which was maybe a little bit foolish, because although we don't want to catch loads of them, a couple of nice sized ones for a cook up, and a nice small one on the live bait rig wouldn't go amiss. But anyway, so we're up on the beach, we're set up, the tide's still on the way out for about another hour I reckon. And then we've got 2 or 3 hours of it flooding, and then we make our mind up whether we move or whether we pack up. See how it goes. Billy Bob is tucked up at the back of the beach shelter there, nice and on his bed, nice and comfortable. The rods are set up. Left hand rod has got a live bait rig on it, and I think there's a fish in it because it is moving. It's not tugging and rattling, but it is just sawing a little bit. And the right hand rod, we were getting some tiny little rats on there, but we'll let that develop. We've got 2 baits on there. If it starts rattling again, we'll strike into it and see what we've got. There are other people fishing on the beach further down from us to the west of us, and in the background you can see the lights of New Haven. Yeah, another pleasant evening. We had a little bit of rain earlier on, but it was not much more than a little bit of drizzle, mizzle even. That's stopped now. There's some clear gaps in the cloud, I think. Well, I can't see any stars, so maybe there isn't. It's not cold, certainly not cold. In fact, again, I've got too many clothes on. I'm hot. But yeah, great evening on the beach. So. Felt it rattling as I was putting the rod into the rod rest then. So, yay, we got the skunk out of the boat. Little channel. A little whiting. So, we're not blanking, that's the important thing. Putting the breakaway wires into place. Feeding this worm on. It's frozen, oiled, salted, which is better than nothing, and that's all it is better than nothing. Brought in my live bait rig, find that I had basically what was the perfect live bait on there. Should have left it out there. Sod's law in it. If I hadn't brought it in, I'd have been looking at a bare hook all night. But that was out there on the live bait rig. Perfect mouthful for a hungry predatory fish. Oh, and my right hand rod is rattling like a good one. Oh man, that is crazy. That is crazy. That is crazy. Gonna have to wind it in. Believe it, the bloody headlight, the battery's gone flat on my headlight, so I put it up the van to charge, and since I've not had my headlight, it's been going crazy. When do I need a headlight? Now. Right, we're getting quite a lot of activity on that right hand rod now. Lots of rattling and knocking going on. But we've been bringing them in quite soon and finding no fish. So let's see if that develops. If it completely goes still, it means it's robbed the bait, or it's asleep on the hook. Or if it really goes rattly, then we'll strike into it. But there's an awful lot of very small whiting out there, I think. They're just ragging the baits. Which is not bad, because we want to get a small whiting on the live bait rig, and I think I saw some little taps on there, so hopefully we've got a live bait on there again. But that's the plan. I'll let you know how we get on. Okay, this rod is banging away quite consistently now, so I think we're going to wind it in. I'm going to get my headlight back. Oh look, 2 channels. Not big, the bottom one's about the best. You don't realise how much you miss your headlight until you haven't got it. I keep tilting my head to try and get better light onto what I'm doing. Of course I haven't got a headlight on. Right, let's get some bait on these hooks, get it back out there. Okay, we're going to make ourselves a cup of tea, commonly known as a brew. We're going to use my homemade rocket stove, which is basically a bit of stainless steel pipe, a basket that I got from IKEA inside. I think it's a stainless steel as well. It's just suspended in there by some nuts and bolts. We've got some bits of decking wood, offcuts, and we're going to cheat, because although I was in the Boy Scouts and I knew how to light a fire with a match, I was also in the army where I knew how to cheat. We're going to use a fire lighter only because I can. Right, so we've got the fire lighter going. Get some sticks going in there. They'll burn down quite quickly. This chimney effect, so the air has been drawn in from the bottom. We've got a couple of bits of aluminium pipe strip here that we just make a cross out of, so that sits across the top, holds the kettle up, so you get circulation of heat, not just soot and smoke. And then we've got a little old kettle here, bit of water, just a cupful. So that's burning quite nicely now. Let's get the kettle on. And that kettle has got a whistle on it, so it'll let us know when it's ready to go. The kettle is starting to boil, I think. Got a tea bag, got some sugar, got some milk. Make it a little bit longer, so we can get a whistle out of it. I think that's about as whistly as it gets. Oh no. And there we go. You cannot beat a cup of tea that has been brewed on the beach. Cheers. Right, I don't know if you can see this, but that rod was rattling from the moment the lead hit the bottom. Get another decent tug like that and wind into it. Nice bait rig jigging as well, so that is good. Right, so just going to see what we got. There's something on there, I can feel it. The good thing about braid is you don't really have to strike too hard with it because you're in contact with it straight away. Here we come. Two little channel whitings again, I think. Oh, they're getting smaller. They're getting smaller. They are getting smaller. See how much I want it, see how bad I need it. You gotta look into my eyes. Look into my eyes. I'm dancing on the tables, trying my best to forget. Ooh, then no one coming through the door is your silhouette. Oh, I'm in a wonderland. The bait to get out. Didn't even call it a night. Well, we're starting to pack up now. The tide is catching up with us, so we need to start packing away. Yeah, it's an interesting night. It was good. Enjoyed myself. The whiting pandemic continues, however. Unfortunately, the plan was to do a catch and cook tonight, but unfortunately, all of the whiting we caught were undersized, so I couldn't do it. But it's all kitted up and ready to go, so we'll come down another night and do it another night. Right, hi there. I'm just going to talk about the lines that I'm using today on the beach, and we'll do that now at home before we get out on the beach. So the main line on my reel here is a Barkley Fire line, 20-pound breaking strain line. I like Barkley Fire line. It's a 9-strand, I believe, but it has a sort of a fusion to it, so it's like a cross between monofilament and braid, in that it has a shiny, smooth surface, which makes it very abrasive resistant. So that's the main line that I'm using. Now, what I have been toying with is I've been trying a braid line as my shot leader, and so I was using some 60-pound braid as my main shot leader, and then it occurred to me I had some 60-pound, in fact 60.9-pound whiplash, which is another Barkley line, but it is incredibly fine. This Derisa is 0.4 of a millimetre in diameter. The whiplash for the same breaking strain is 0.2 of a millimetre, so it's fine. It's not much thicker than the 20-pound main line. So I've been toying and using this as a shot leader, and up till now I've had good results with it. So we're going to tie this on now, and I'll show you how I do that, and we'll use that on the beach tonight. So I've got a sheet of white paper here so that you can see this dark coloured whiplash, but the main line, because it is a very light yellow, you can't see that on a white background, so I've just put my phone on there so that you can see it. Okay, so you get some sort of an idea of how close it is in diameter to the shot leader. 20-pound breaking strain, 60-pound breaking strain. Now, I like to use a braid shot leader, and it's very controversial because there's lots of people voice opinions about this, because there's no stretch in it. So you're fishing all the way to your hook snood with no stretch, so you're instantly in contact with any sort of bite. So you very good bite detection. It means that when you strike, you don't have to strike so savagely, because as soon as you lift the rod, you're pulling the hook. And because this whiplash 8-strand is so fine in diameter, there's very little tide resistance to it, and so it's not being pulled by the tide. So the knot that I like to use for this, because braid is always difficult to tie, is I use a double uni knot, and a 7 twist double uni knot. So we're going to tie a uni knot. Let's get this out of the way now so you can see this. So literally lie the two lines side by side, and we're going to go through that loop 7 times. It makes for a slightly longer knot, but it's a fine diameter knot, and because you're using fine lines, another benefit of using this fine 60-pound braid is the knots are nice and small, so they don't impact going down through the rod rings. So that's 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. I've got enough. Let's give it a little bit of a pull. 6. I want one more. I want a bit of tag into it. I can hold on to it. So 6. 7. 7, 7, 7, 7, 7, 7. And we'll just loosely do this knot up for the time being, so that it's easy to control. So we'll just tie that onto there. So we've loosely done that knot up. Okay, that's it. Loosely done it up, and then we repeat that with the main line now. Now, because this fire line has got this fusion on the outside, it's a very slippery line, so you have got to make sure that you do good knots with this, otherwise they will undo. So same thing again, loop it through and then through the loop 7 times. Don't ask me why 7 is a magic number. I guess it's my lucky number. Once. Twice. This is why we do this at home, because it's a fiddly thing to do on the beach, but it can be done on the beach. But 3, 4, 5, 6. I mean, there's a number of knots you can use for this. This is just my preferred knot. 6. One more. One, come through, come to daddy. Go and get through there. 7. And then we'll pull that down and draw that knot in until it's loosely done up. Okay, so you've got the 2 knots there. And then we're going to use a bit of gob oil, I've heard it described as saliva, just so that they pull down, and we draw those together till the knots meet. Pull on these tag ends to tighten up the actual knots themselves, and then pull them together again, and then cinch it all down. And I think you would agree, that's a pretty neat knot. Let's just get a little bit closer to look at that. I think you'll agree that's a pretty neat knot. Welcome to Sea Fishing with CJ on the beach. We're back down on the beach. I think the whiting pandemic continues tonight. Got both rods set up. Left-hand rod with the blue tip, I don't know if you can see it on the camera, has got a live bait rig on it. Slightly amended version of the one that we were using the other night. And then the right hand rod has got 2 snoods, both baited with black lug, and I think already we've got some interest in that, so we're going to wind that in, see if we've actually got the skunk out of the boat already. So let's get on and do that. Okay, so we've wound in the first cast of the night. It's only been out there a few minutes, and already we have got the first dogfish of the night. Let's hope this is not a portent of the night. Don't really want to catch those dogfish, and that's not good news. Don't want those on the live bait rig, really don't. But we'll get him back in the water, toot sweet, and get this bait back out there. Nice little doggy. It's only a little one. Get him in the water. Swim, little dogfish, swim. He's gone. We're fishing a 2-snood paternoster rig, which is in a splashdown, clip down onto a breakaway lead. Okay, it's about a 5-ounce lead. So the first snood, which is baited with a bit of black lug, it's on a paternoster. The upper hook is secure with a bit of luminous tube, just to give it a little bit of glow in the water, just as a secondary attraction. And that clips into the little splashdown, like so. So it clips down through there like that, so that as soon as this hits the water, that hits the water, pings that off and releases it. Okay, so let's just reattach that. Great fan of breakaway stuff. Okay, and then this snood is attached with a swivel, which is a cascade swivel. It's got a little tag on it there, so the second hook hooks into that. Now that's held in tension by virtue of the fact that this swivel has got a bead below it, and below that bead is a little spring. So again, as soon as that's released, that spring will pull that free, and so you've got 2 hooks flowing in the tide. So that's the way it works. Okay, breakaway leads, obviously they're in the bottom like that. When you pull them out, they break out, and you can tighten them up by just pinching them a bit tighter. So we'll make sure that they're all nice and tight. One's a bit loose. Clips that into place. So that's what we're fishing for our, well, whiting rig really, scratching rig. If I can get some decent sized whiting tonight, and there have been some big ones getting caught, then we will do a catch and cook. But if I'm only catching little tiny pin whiting or dogfish, we won't. Let's get this back in the water, see what happens. Right, well, we're just getting almighty great knocks on the right hand rod. Really good bouncing bite. Yeah, still some in there, isn't there? Oh yeah, still. Oh yeah. It's got to come in. It's got to come in. Little tugging. Not quite weighty there. And a dogfish maybe. Oh. Whatever it is, every so often it has a little wake up. There it is. What did I say? Another dogfish. Am I going to get plagued with dogfish tonight, do we think? The other night it was whiting, little whiting. Tonight it seems to be little dogfish. Oh, get this bait back out in the water. Pray for something better. The live bait rig has been out there for a while now, and I'm not actually noticing a great deal of activity on it. I've noticed that the tide has swung it around to the left a bit though. So what I think I'm going to do is I'm going to bring it in and just check, see what it is, see if there's anything on there. Guarantee that there would be a perfect live bait on there, but we'll do that. We'll bring it in, we'll freshen the bait up on it if necessary, and whack it back out there again. So that's the plan. Billy Bob tucked up in his bed. I don't know if you can see my rods, so I can brighten the light up a bit. Let's put the light up a bit more. That's the light all the way up, and put my headlight on it as well. Yeah, so there's some weed or something on the live bait rig, I think. Oh, well, actually, no, that live bait rig is actually still nodding as though there's a fish on there. So maybe I'll leave it out there for a while. Yeah, there's definitely a fish on the live bait rig. Not a big fish. So we'll let that hang for a bit. see if we don't attract ourselves something decent. I'll bring in the right hand rod. I think that's due a kit change or a bait change, and whack that back out. It's unbelievable, isn't it? We had those 2 dogfish almost instantly when we got down here, and then nothing, which means to me that probably we've got a couple of little pin whiting that have gone to sleep on there, or they've robbed the baits. Yeah, so let's get that in and get that done. We tackled up, got this bait back out, and we're into a dogfish and the littlest channel whiting you have ever seen. So we've got to unhook these, get the dogfish back in swimming, unhook the whiting and get that back as well. Ooh. We're in a snag. Right, we're going to have to do a bit of walking up and down the beach, see if we can crack this out. Not good news. Right, got something on here. Just snagged up, re-tackled, cracked off on a cast. Just one of those nights. Something tugging away on here. I suspect it's another dogfish. What have we got here? Oh, it's a little channel whiting. It was tugging well. Slightly better one, slightly bigger channel whiting, but still not a monster. So anyway, bit better. Nice little channel. Right, this rod has literally been in the water 5 minutes and it is going like the clappers. So let's wind it in, see what we got. Look at that rattling. What have we got? More little pin whiting. Tell you what, it's only little, but that was rattling like a good one. This Black Rock SS10 really does shut the bites. Can't hold it for that. So get that back on in, get that back in, and get the baits out. Just had a lunging big bite on this right hand rod, a real big bite. Still there, isn't it? Oh, still there. That live bait rod. It's got a fish on it. Better. It was a bit better on it. Oh, what have we got in here? We've got a large amount of weed. There's definitely a fish on there. Oh, there is. There's a very little whiting amongst all that weed. Look, little foul look whiting with some salad. Well, it's 19 minutes to high tide. My whiting rod has been rattling away like a good one. I'm going to leave it out for a little bit longer. Oh, it's definitely going mad now. We're going to give it 19 minutes, 20 minutes, and then we're going to pack up and go home. Me and Billy Bob, we haven't even put a shelter up. It's just not stopped one thing or another. Yeah, it's been a busy night. I had I don't know, good dozen whiting, 3 or 4 dogfish, but nothing special, nothing big, and nothing on the live bait rod. Can't see the live bait rod at the moment. The batteries have gone down on my tip lights, I think. But we'll give it another night, I'd say 19-20 minutes, and then we will call it a night. So Billy Bob's tucked up on his bed. He is shivering a bit. Yeah. That is a bit better. That bottom one's a bit better. Why don't I get that a bit earlier in the night? Because I could have done a catch and cook with that. But it's kind of the end of the night as far as I'm concerned. Yeah, that's the best fish of the night. A bag full of them would be a worthwhile enterprise. I think I might take him home for my tea. Yeah, that is not a bad whiting. Well, the tide is all the way in now. In fact, it's probably just slightly on the turn now. We fished the tide all the way, well, fished the last 2/3 of the tide. Last hour or so, we've had half a dozen more whiting. Unfortunately, about the second to last fish we caught was the only whiting that was of size. And by then it's too late to do a catch and cook. We will do a catch and cook, we will. Just need to get some consistent, decent sized whiting. Looking forward to it. In fact, I was relying upon it. I'm starving hungry, and I'm going to go home and raid the fridge, I think. Me and Billy Bob had another good night. Where is Billy Bob? Billy Bob, where are you? Where's he gone?